We're talking about communication.
Communication. I think a lot of couples communicate through hints.
I think I'm a pretty smart person, but then when this happens, I feel like,
how am I supposed to understand that this meant something to you when it meant something completely different to me?
not two different languages.
Correct.
But we speak two different languages.
Oh, yes, we do. Hey, Guy.
Hey, good morning. Good morning.
How
What's
are
going on today?
You look good.
Feeling good. Got that spring vibe. Ready for new adventures, new season, new energy,
Yeah.
new pulse on the new. You know,
What? No, I don't. I don't know.
is
Got that new.
yeah. I woke up this morning feeling good, ready for summer. It's finally
It's
getting
summer.
The
It
temperatures
feels
are
like
finally
summer.
getting
That's
good.
what it is. That's
here
your
in the
season
Midwest.
for sure.
And I'm ready to go. Ready to get some sun, get some motorcycle time,
Yeah.
get some outdoors picnics, playgrounds.
You gonna ride the bike today?
Parties. I could see myself motorcycling today.
Okay.
I gotta get your bike out of the. We gotta get our stuff out of the winter season and into summer.
Yes.
I've been doing it slow. It's time to finish.
Well, usually the
today.
goal is by Memorial Day, and then I start to open.
Yeah.
My frustration box. I don't know a nice way to say it. I'm not nagging, but I am nagging.
No, but this year more than ever, I'll have with the job change. I'll be able to just do stuff on Saturday, get it out on Saturday.
Getting the deck out, yeah.
Be ready.
Get summerized.
Power wash the deck. Get it just ready.
Get it ready. And then what?
Then we enjoy it. So I was thinking about our podcast today.
Yes.
I was thinking about our topic.
Okay.
We're talking about communication.
Communication.
Time to talk.
Yes.
Not two different languages.
Correct.
But we speak two different languages.
Oh, yes, we do. I have an experiment. Can I do it on you?
I still didn't ask my question.
I didn't know you had a question.
I did. I said I have a great way to start this topic.
That did not tell me that you had a question. You see, we're already starting. We're already starting on communication. Bam.
When we first got married.
Yes.
What was the hardest part of communication for us, in your eyes?
Laying out the plan that we were both in agreement of, and then you not following the plan. For example, in our episodes, we start with prayer. And somehow you missed that point. But we've been doing this for 27 episodes now. And we constantly have to go back to reassess the plan.
I was antsy to get my opener out.
I see.
Yeah.
Father God, we just thank you for this day, this episode. As we get into this new topic, we pray, Father Lord, that you will speak to the people in the hearts that need to hear this message, that they would laugh as well, but also have the conviction to want to change some of their styles, their behaviors, so that they can connect and be closer to their spouse, their partner, and they could be able to grow their relationship and love by faith. In Jesus' name, you get all the glory. Amen.
Amen.
We're not perfect people.
By any means.
But by trusting in God, we learned what it takes to build a friendship,
a relationship,
and marriage that has stood the test of time.
With a Keeping It Real style, we're going to talk to you about everything.
Everything.
That we've been through.
Are going through.
And have overcome. All by learning how to lean on God and each other.
In order to help you learn how to love by faith.
So what was the hardest part?
That was the hardest part. The hardest part of when I first married you, Kyle, the hardest part of First off, hi everyone. We're in this big conversation. It is exactly what I'm talking about. We just got out of a series called Finances. If you're interested in how to build up your foundation of finances, you could go ahead and catch that in the previous episodes all April long. This new season, the month of May, we have decided to talk about a very pressing topic. We keep talking about it over and over and over in almost every single one of our episodes. And now we're going to dedicate an entire month to talking a little deeper into it. We mentioned it was communication, and Kyle just asked, what is the biggest thing that my trouble was? And again, it was when I thought we were on the same page. And then we move forward, like we get out of the huddle, break, great, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
And then Kyle goes left and does something completely different. And I'm like, what are you doing? I thought we were on the same page. And you were like, no, I thought we were doing this. And I'm like, when did that ever happen? When did we ever talk about that in our huddle? I thought we were on the same page. So there are some people, listen, I could feel myself boiling.
You're talking so loud.
Let me cool down. I can recall us, I want to be on the same page. There are some people, here it is. There are some people who don't care. They're like, I said it once. If you didn't hear me, oh well. Screw you, figure it out. And then there are people who genuinely want to run the 3-legged race because you are tied to this person and you have to rock together in order to get to the finish line. And so I try to cover all the points. So I feel like since the beginning of our marriage, even up till now, I'm taking mental notes. Like I have a notepad that are filled with mental notes of like, don't talk to Kyle too early in the morning. Don't talk to Kyle during the sports events. Talk to Kyle after he's, had a good belly. Make sure you tell Kyle that you're going to talk to him so that way he's prepared to talk. Don't just say, hey, we need to talk. Just go right into it and talk. Like I have all these mental notes. And so I do all of these things and it still doesn't work. You still go left field at times and you're like, what? And it's just the way that men process and think about things versus the way that women process and think about things. The way that a type A person talks and thinks about, processes things versus the way a type B person talks and processes things. All of it is always going to be a spider web of wonder. We can be very close to being on the same page and communicating and moving forward, but there will always, always, always be a piece of the web that we have to untangle because the web is consistently growing because we are always in communication. I have an experiment for you.
Okay. I'm ready.
This is an experiment of men and women. So It's not, don't take it personal. I just want to see how we're doing. Okay.
Okay.
Repeat after me.
I've been in this a long time. I have grown thick enough skin to not get stressed about whatever you're about to do.
I appreciate that.
Not worried about that.
I appreciate
and
that.
Even all you calling out all my...
I'm sure I do it too.
You calling out all my shortcomings in the past 4 minutes is okay.
Welcome to Love by Faith.
Because I know those are my shortcomings.
Yes.
Right? I know that we can talk, but then I see... It's not like shiny objects, but I see like, wait, we made this plan, but this is a better... I audible without telling you that I'm audibling.
Is it a better plan though?
Sometimes.
Is it?
Listen, when you're the quarterback, you got to make split-second decisions. But
this is what happened to OBJ and Baker. This is what happened. I'm wide open. Wide open.
No.
Give me the ball.
No, I see what you're saying there. But so when I see that there's a better path, I do audible, but I could do better at talking about it. That's for sure. But you got to have that. I got to have that. I got to be able to just... And
check a jive.
That's it.
Can I do my experiment?
Yeah, let's do the experiment.
And then I have a story that I'd like to share with the people.
Did I rationalize communicating poorly good enough for you?
It was well said. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here's my experiment.
Time.
Okay. Repeat after me.
Okay.
Repeat after me.
Okay. What are you going to say?
Repeat after me. Say it. You're supposed
after me.
Oh my God.
What am I supposed to...
Repeat after me.
Oh, you want me to say repeat after me?
I want you to repeat.
Okay.
What I'm saying.
You haven't said anything but repeat after me.
You're supposed to repeat it.
Okay.
Repeat after me.
Repeat after me.
4.
4.
5.
5.
What comes after 6?
What comes after 6?
You passed the test.
You passed the test.
Okay.
Okay.
But you failed because you didn't do it the first time.
You said repeat after me. Usually that's a colon and then you say something new and then they repeat it. You didn't give me anything to repeat.
I gave you the words, repeat after me.
But that didn't initiate for me to repeat after you saying repeat after me. Because who says that? When you say repeat after me, then you say something else.
We're going to do a poll and find out.
Do a poll. They know.
Listen, I have a story to share, and it is probably the very first instance of our communication as a married couple. Very first one where I knew this was going to be an area of our lives that we were going to have to talk about.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see what you got.
So, we're on our honeymoon.
Oh, okay. I know where you're going here. Yeah.
And we went to Moorea, which is a Tahitian island, Polynesian island. So we went there and they had some snorkeling.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyle really wanted to snorkel.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, you know, I've never snorkeled before. I'm a little taken back by it, but
I'd never snorkeled either.
this is my new husband and he's very excited and he wants to explore and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. So I'm going to be a trooper and I'm going to snorkel. So we get our flippers on and we get our goggles on and our, you know, our snorkel mask on. And mind you, we're wearing the flippers and it's all coral over our bungalow. Okay.
Right.
So there's nowhere where you can just stand up and like get your head out of the water because everywhere underneath you was coral, right? So you can't stand on the coral. So Kyle's just trying to communicate to me under the water. Okay. And if you're watching this on YouTube, he makes this motion.
I do like a chopping hand motion.
Like a chopping hand motion. Okay. He's looking me at the eyes and he's making a chopping hand motion. Now I want you to pause for a second, those who are watching and listening, and you tell me, what would this mean to you if you're underwater and you're looking at the love of your life? What would this mean? To me, I thought this chopping hand motion meant go straight. Go straight.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Go straight. So I'm like, okay. He goes and he swims off like a little fish. I am swimming after him and I notice, wow, there's this coral. Wow, look at the fish. Wow, oh my goodness. I see a little Nemo. I'm like, wow, look, there's a Nemo in real life. That's awesome. I see 2 or 3 Nemos. I'm like, wow, look at they're everywhere. I see a million Nemos. I'm like, where did they all come from? I look for Kyle. He's gone. I realize that the coral reef is sucking me into the reef.
I was 10 feet away from her.
How was I supposed to see that when the fishies are trying to trap me and take me for their next food? I don't understand. So I'm trying to like swim out of this reef area because I'm getting sucked in.
Because there's a pretty strong current in this little lagoon that we were swimming through. Pretty strong
current to take a grown woman into the reef. And so finally Kyle comes out of nowhere and grabs my arm and pulls me out. And I managed to like
the shallow water area.
Go to the shallow and I look up and I'm like, where did you go? And he's like, I'm looking at all the fish just like you. I said, I was getting sucked up by there. What happened? You told me to go straight and I was. And he said, no, I didn't tell you to go straight. I told you to go fast because of the current. How am I supposed to understand that this meant something to you when it meant something completely different to me? And I believe that what happens in marriages and in relationships, that same thing happens all the time. We say one thing, but because of you and your experiences and the way you think, you mean it as one thing and the other person means it as something else. And we could say everything as clearly as possible. But because we have the 2 different experiences, we're on 2 different planes. And so even when you want to communicate, you're still going to have to work on communication. There's always going to be something.
Hey, everybody. This is Kyle. Thank you so much for your support and listening to this podcast. This year, as we go through our foundation series, we wanted to offer you a new handout. Hot off the presses, it's called the Relationship Resource Toolkit. This handout is a list compiled by Selina and me, of course, as a useful tool. What we think are great devotionals, books, podcasts, and Bible readings These are tools you and your partner can use to help learn and grow and understand more about your relationship. Take your relationship to the next level with this toolkit. These were all things that have helped us along the way, and now we have a one-stop shop for you. Use the link in the description to download the free Relationship Resource Toolkit and keep choosing to love by faith.
Coming out of that story,
Yeah.
I think it's so good. That's such a great example of where we were. Because when we went back and we snorkeled again, right? I got the chance to
10 years later,
to
you talk
do-
about 10 years later?
to do the makeup swim, the makeup snorkel trip. Even when we went to Jamaica and we snorkeled, we did so much better.
We did.
I didn't leave you behind. I was like, wait a second. Got to remember the last time we did this. And was able to learn from the mistake, right? Was able to
Yes.
get better the next time.
And that's what I admire about you, is that you wanted to learn from the mistakes and from the mishaps, and some people don't.
It's funny. You know where I learned that? You are so good. You are so good at making a mistake one time.
I'm Iron Man.
Making the mistake one time and then fixing that and never having that mistake happen again.
Thank you.
I got to make the same mistake a couple, 3 times. And then it's like, oh, wait, you're doing the same thing you just did. Like, it doesn't click. Like, I think I'm a pretty smart person, but then when this happens, I feel like, goofball, are you kidding me?
Yeah, and a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people will tear themselves down over the mistakes, and it's really hard to find the grace in themselves because they know that they're making a mistake and they don't see that it's a mistake until it's already done.
Man, the amount of patience you must have. So much patience.
Pray for me, y'all.
And I think back now in the years, it's like, how many times, like you said when we opened, with you, I can't even think of the specific examples, it was so many, where you're like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea, we're going to do that. And then I just go off the reservation with my own thing. And you're like, this isn't what we talked about. And like at the end, you're like, that was great, but this isn't what we talked about doing. And you're totally, so it comes, again, you're totally, gotta have a plan, gotta have it mapped out. And I am more, let's just go for it a little bit in
Yeah.
certain areas. And then there's other times where it's like, I gotta have a plan, I gotta have it mapped out. And it's so,
But okay, so we're talking a lot
Interesting.
about vacationing and stuff, but when it comes to like everyday life and everyday living,
yeah,
how you communicate, it's a constant work in progress.
so much.
It's a constant, and not only that, but you have to be willing to communicate. I remember very early on in our marriage, I used to think that my body language would express how I feel, and you should therefore understand what I'm trying to say without saying it.
Yeah.
And me not talking to you, or are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. The way I said it,
Yeah.
my tonality, I would think that that was giving you enough hints. I think a lot of couples communicate through hints and through motions without just downright saying, I'm offended at you because of what just happened, or you hurt my feelings. I think sometimes it's harder to say those phrases and to share that truth than it is to just be, well, he'll get the hint. He'll get it.
Hints, yeah.
He'll get the hint. And it's like, that is not proper communication, folks. That is not the way that you are going to get far in your relationship. If you think that this isn't a game of Clue, okay?
Right.
This isn't an escape room. Like, the hints are only going to get you so far, but they're not going to get you out of the room. You need to have the plan. You need to be able to solve the problems. And it
You
wasn't
need to be
until
able to speak your other person's language. Speak your person's language.
break that down a little more.
Well, because like with the hand signals, to me that made perfect sense when I was like, go fast. But even now listening to it, it doesn't make any sense. There's nothing in there that says go fast. Go straight is exactly what this looks like.
You know what I would say go fast would be is if I took 2 chopping hands and did it fast. Go
Yeah.
fast.
I mean, it wasn't like we couldn't stop and talk. Like there's no reason I couldn't just stop and talk,
Yeah.
But even in like, I think about how because we have kids, right? So we'll plan out the meals. We'll make our meal plan for the week.
Yeah.
You're like, what are we having for dinner? And I'm like, oh, chicken. And you're like, okay, but chicken isn't a dinner. I'm like, chicken. And it just, whatever goes with chicken. And that's enough. Like I could make groceries off of that, but you're like, no, we gotta have sides. We gotta have this. What else? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think about that, and as far as communication, because so many times, as a guy, I just chicken, bro. Just
But
get the chicken out.
as a girl, just chicken means you did part of the work and you're expecting me to fill in the gaps, which often can lead to decision fatigue because you're like, oh, chicken. Okay, so now it's up to me to figure out the rest of it. And if you keep doing that time and time again, if you just keep putting one point out there, or, oh, we should do this, or, oh, that's a good idea, oh, we should visit them, but then you leave it there, you just leave it hanging in the air, then the other person in that relationship is going to feel like, okay, now I have to fill this in and flesh it out. And that becomes a burden. That becomes tiresome. That becomes overwhelming. That becomes confusing because it's like, well, is this what you really wanted? I don't really know what, I'm just going to do it and see if that's okay. It leads to a lot of miscommunication.
Or it could lead to the opposite. Besides the miscommunication, it could lead to them being like, well, he said this once, but he didn't really give a whole bunch of details, so he wasn't that serious.
Yeah.
And then he was serious, but he just didn't have the whole plan all together, right?
Yeah.
And needed that support. So seeing it as how you look at it, how you look at the communication, how you look at him saying, well, let's have chicken for dinner. It's cool. Like chicken is cool for dinner, right? He wants chicken for dinner, but he needs that support of, well, yeah, chicken with what though? Chicken, you know what I mean?
So you want
But not saying to tear him down and be like, chicken, that's a horrible idea. What's going on with that? What are you gonna have with it? But say it like, chicken, what kind of sides do you want with that?
Okay, I'm gonna counter this.
Yeah.
I concur, but it almost sounds as if you want the partner. It doesn't have to be the man saying this and the woman defending.
Right.
It's the partner. It almost sounds as if you're saying that you want that partner to coach you through a full explanation, when sometimes the partner feels like, you're grown enough to come out with a whole explanation without me having to do extra work to coach you through it. Like, have a little more accountability in yourself. If you're going to say something and you're going to have an idea, then come prepared with a plan, or at least a time to talk about how we can flesh it out together.
I feel like meals are such a good example.
It's a basic, simple thing that everybody can agree on.
It's a great way to get good at communicating.
Yeah.
Because through us doing our meal plan for the week so that we're ready for the kids and we're staying ahead of them, I have figured out how to communicate better with you.
Yeah.
And I've also figured out I've also gotten good at planning ahead for discussions with you and being able to bring something to the table that's more than just chicken.
Yeah.
Right? It's worked out that planning meals has made us better communicators, because we could take those lessons we learned in communicating about meal planning and use them in tougher decisions, like about how to handle the kids and how to do financial planning and how to do house renovation planning, because those are all things that are really tough communication topics.
Sure.
But doing the little things to practice it has made it so much easier to have those talks.
And I just want to put right now on notice that I am not the best communicator in the world. I really pride myself in saying that, yes, like Kyle said, if there is something that I see, I work really hard to correct it the first time, because I just want a better suit. Like I said with Iron Man, like, I want a better suit next time.
Yeah.
I should never wear the same suit twice. And Kyle, even though, you have your mishaps when it comes to communication, you have worked really hard on being a better communicator, to the point where now I feel very safe and open and transparent to share anything with you.
Yeah.
And and I think that is the place where you have to get to in a relationship, is you have to go based on the word. And in Genesis, Adam and Eve, they were naked and unashamed, and you have to be willing to see your partner and know that I can come to him and be totally naked about my feelings, be totally naked about my emotions, be totally unashamed about my frustrations, my offenses, what I'm going through, what I'm thinking, if I'm overthinking it, about my hormones, about my past, about my present, my future. I should be able to to stand in front of him completely naked about those things and know that no matter what I say or how I communicate it, he's still going to receive me as his wife. He's still going to love me unconditionally the way Christ is teaching him to as a husband. And that is the point that we must all get to. And so, Kyle, yes, you are a work in progress. And I do want to say that you have worked great, and as couples, you're going to have those moments where you'll just look at each other from across the room and know exactly like, hey, it's time to leave this place. Like, or, oh my gosh, this, watch this lady or,
Did they really just say that?
Yeah. Like, you're going to have those eye community, like you could just talk through your eyes and that's wonderful. That's beautiful when you get to that place where you're going to come to the place in your relationship where you can finish each other's sentences. You're talking to people and I say, and Kyle knows exactly what I'm trying to convey and he'll say it. You're going to get to those places.
Yeah.
And just because you get to those places does not mean that you have to stop focusing on improving communication.
Yeah. If you want to learn how to communicate, have a kid or two. And those children will help you communicate with your partner really good. Show you all your flaws.
Oh, yeah.
And help you understand where you're really bad at communicating.
That's where the patience comes in. That's where the coaching comes in. That's where you teach them to be open and transparent. And sometimes their openness and transparency turns into meltdowns and blowouts. And, you got to be okay with that.
Yeah.
While also wrestling your reaction in within yourself. So you show them and be a good example. I mean, obviously, we have so much to talk about this month when it comes to communication. We can talk about how to communicate with others, how to respond, how your tonality,
pitfalls of communication,
your processing, the pitfalls,
body language,
all of those things. And we're definitely going to cover all of them this month, but we just kind of wanted to give you a little taste of like, hey, communication is something that is an ongoing process.
Yeah, man.
It is an ongoing thing. Sometimes you're really good at it. Sometimes you're not. He has flaws. I'm sure there are other guys out there who have flaws. I'm sure other women out there are frustrated. Sometimes I mess up. Sometimes he messes up. But sometimes it comes together and it works really well. And that's what we want to help you with as you're continuing to build your foundation in 2024.
Can I give you a challenge here to close?
Yeah.
What's one takeaway you'd want wives to take coming out of this episode?
I want wives to come out of this episode knowing that we hear you and we understand you if you are trying to be the one who communicates openly and transparently, but it's not all on the guy. There will be things that you must be held accountable for and learn about yourself in order to make it work.
That's great. That's great.
And what about you?
I would tell the guys to keep trying, keep learning from your mistakes, and keep putting forth the effort to help your wife, to work with your wife, and be a teammate.
Amen.
That's what we want people to take away today. That's good.
That's great.
I like your answer.
Thank you. I like your answer. It's a two-person effort.
Yes.
To make it all come together.
Absolutely. We appreciate you being here and listening this week. We appreciate all the ongoing support. Make sure you do all the social media things, like, review, share, love by faith, help your relationship, your marriage grow.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.